Hi, everybody. Welcome to Discover College Soccer. Today, I'm lucky enough to be joined by Coach Julia Bazi from St. Peter's. Welcome, Coach.
Thank you, Matthew. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. We were just chatting a little bit. You can tell from your accent you're not from New Jersey. Yeah, but as a former World Cup player for Australia, you got to be try cheering on the men's side. Although we're talking on the big day for the USA against Iran, so
Yep.
hopefully
Yep.
when this goes live and people watch it, everybody's happy because of the result. But
Absolutely. I hope they win. I do hope they win. It's my adopted country, so I do
there
hope.
you go. There you go. Awesome. Well, we're talking about those games. Your games have wrapped up for the season, so let's talk more about recruiting because I'm sure that's what you're hot and heavy into at this point.
Yes.
Now that the season's wrapped up, looking at next season. So right now it's the end of November. Are you primarily wrapping up your 23 class? Is 23's done and you're looking at 24s? What does that look like for you in a typical year?
Yep. So we're right in it with the 23s right now. It gets a bit difficult to recruit a lot during the season because we're all
Sure.
over the place, right? But now it's like now we're going for the finish line. So all the girls that we've been in contact with, we're making time to go watch play in person. We want to get them wrapped up quickly. We have a number set and we have specific, positions and players that we're looking for. Hopefully we get them, right? So that's always the plan, right? But we always have to have option B and C as well, just in case.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, so when that June 15th date rolls around, when you're allowed to start talking to juniors, are you hitting that trail hard there before your season starts as well?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely we do. It's a bit more difficult being a smaller school. The bigger schools have already wrapped up 25, but we do what we can with the resources we have. I think we do a good job with what we have also. Myself and the two other assistants, we're on it, right? We're trying to get to as much as we can. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, you mentioned going to and seeing players play. So are there tournaments that you kind of have on your list as to places I have to make sure I get every year?
Yep. So there are a few, especially like the PDA ones that are close by. And then we do host our own clinics and camps, which is big for us because we get to see them play in person on a more personable level. And then there are other clinics that happen around the area, maybe Philadelphia, Massachusetts, we can get to. So we look at those camps too, like the exact camps, and there's a few different ones that we try and get to as also.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of what we all call the alphabet soup, are you focused primarily on ECNL or GA or National League or does the alphabet soup matter?
Not for me.
No.
I look. I've been here a lot of years now, and I still don't know it. Right. So once I think I do, and then another one starts. So I'm just like, you know what? Luckily, I have my assistant. He's like a walking thesaurus. Right. So if I need to ask anything, I tell him, and he knows everything. So he's from the area, so he's very very good with that stuff. But look, we look at the players, right? We know what we want and what we're looking for. It's not always the superstar of the team. Sometimes the coaches look for that coach's player, we call it,
Hmm.
who's going to do that dirty work but doesn't stand out as much. So,
Sure.
there's certain things that we look for when we're recruiting.
Okay. Well,
Yep.
in terms of just kind of building on that, whether you're at a tournament or a clinic or something, do
Yep.
you have kind of your checklist of what you are looking for? What are some of the on the field attributes as well as some of the off the field attributes that really kind of catch your eye?
Right. So the main thing we do first is the girls that have reached out to us. We want to make sure we see them because we already know they're interested. So we'll go watch them play. And then naturally you come across a few other players that are really good. So, we get in contact with them also. Like for this season, we're looking for replacements for the 6 graduate students that we're graduating. So naturally we want to replace them with the same talent, right? So we have our list and we know what we're going after.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, in terms of your um, roster, I noticed you have a few international players.
Yes.
Are you looking, I mean, how big is international recruiting in your overall recruiting scheme, and how does the transfer portal fit in these days too?
Yeah, I love the transfer portal. I'm all for it. So both, right? We're looking for both. The really, really top ed players, they might be going to a Rutgers or a Penn State or, naturally, which is fine. So sometimes we do explore the international option, but we're not just going to pick someone because they're international. They also have to meet the criteria of what we're looking for. But we're open. We're always open to anything and everything, as long as the personality is right and the talent is there.
Okay.
So they're the two things that we go for. Yep. The
Okay.
personality is a big one because, you want the chemistry to be good amongst the girls. So for me, what I say is I don't want to, even if you're the best player in the world, but you have a rotten attitude, I don't want you on the team. So it's just one bad egg can bring down everything. So at the moment, it's fantastic. All the girls get along, and we kind of want to keep it that way.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, one question we get sometimes is around official visits. And as a smaller school, and like you said, you're doing as much with what you got that you can. Do you guys sponsor a number of official visits for kids, and what exactly would someone expect between an official visit?
Yeah, so we don't really do like the big official visits where we fly them in, put them up in a hotel, and we just don't have the resources for that. The best we could offer would be, obviously the girls can stay with the girls in the dorm room. I like that because it kind of gives them a feel of what it's like to be a student athlete on campus, living with teammates. And then we also make sure we feed them. So we give them vouchers for the cafeteria so they can taste the cafeteria food, and kind of just have a real hands-on feel of what it would be like to be at St. Peter's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, as a parent, and many other parents, the first question we always look at is, oh, geez, what's this going to cost me, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not holding you to hard numbers here, but can
Yeah.
you just give me a little bit of an overview of what it would be like in terms of what aid is available, whether that's academic money, what the athletic scholarship situation is, just kind of an overall viewpoint of what it costs.
Yeah, so St. Peter's in general is a private school, so naturally it's more money. The school will range from about 56 to 57,000 a year. But what we do offer is huge academic aid as well as athletic aid. So we are a school that can combine the two. Some don't, right? Everyone's got their different policies. With us, if you come in with good grades, you can get more than half of that taken away by academic aid. So then, adding athletic scholarship, that number that you were scared of when you first heard it kind of diminishes and becomes, okay, this is actually pretty good. We can afford this.
Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit more about the school. Some folks out there may not be familiar with St. Peter's, even though it's right there in the heart of it all, right? Next to Manhattan and Jersey City. So can you just give me some insights? What are some really cool things about St. Peter's that I'm not going to learn just by clicking on the website?
Yep. I'm sure you learned more about the March Madness from last year.
Yep.
So I think that put us on the map a little bit more. When the coaches and I went away for tournaments, they knew who we were straight away, right? It was kind of like, oh, St. Peter's is here. Like, we never had that before, right? So that was, thank you to the men's basketball team for that. But like the area itself is I actually bought a house around here, so it's really, really nice. Maybe 20, 25 years ago, probably not. But now it's just luxury buildings and it's just growing and growing. So it's a nice area. It's safe, which is a big question the parents ask, which naturally you should. We're one stop from Manhattan, but people forget that Jersey City itself is such a nice city because you have Manhattan as your in your backyard. So Jersey City is extremely diverse, which means amazing food, right? So we have you name the nationality, we have it. And we have the view of New York. So the boardwalk, there's restaurants and bars for kids when they're older, and parents, and there's always something to do. Hoboken's next door, Jersey City Heights. It's really nice area. So if you're not a city person, probably not the school for you, right? Because it's a city, right? So if you enjoy the city, perfect place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, in terms of the academic side of things, right? Um, how is being a soccer player at St. Peter's? How do the student athletes really balance their studies and sport commitments? And what support systems does the school offer to help?
Yep. So everything. We have academic advisors, study hall. We have psychologists. We even have priests. So whatever resources you need is there for you. What we speak to with the girls is just communication. So we don't want them sitting in their room freaking out like this is too much. And that's why we kind of have an open door policy for us coaches. So the girls can come in and out, call us anytime they want, because we want them to be happy where they are. The worst thing for me as a coach, and I'm sure other coaches will feel the same, is you don't want your players being miserable or upset or struggling. So we do meet a lot one-on-one just to touch base with the girls, just to know where their head's at. There are one or two that have come in and, oh, this is a lot, and then we sit down with an advisor and then we fix it, right? So it's communication. Communication is a big one because the resources are literally there for you.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, rolling back a few months during the season, can you walk me through? And I know there's no such thing as a typical week, but
Yep.
but can you walk me through what a player might be walking into in terms of when is class, meals, practice,
Yep.
games, travel routines, that kind of thing?
Yeah, no problem. So I'll give you the week. So in our conference, we play Wednesday, Saturday. We have no option. That's our conference, right? Wednesday, Saturday. So what we'll train in the morning. So we train at 7 a.m. So the girls have class. They don't have to worry about, oh gosh, I got to get to training now, or I can't fit it in. I've got so much to do. Training's in the morning. It's over and done with. You're finished. We do film on Monday too to prepare for Wednesday's game. Tuesday we'll train. Wednesday we play, and then they're required to do some form of recovery afterwards, whether it's in the swimming pool, massages, compression boots, ice bath, whatever the athletic trainer says you need to do, it has to be done. Thursday, repeat. We'll go do the training and the film. Train again Thursday, Friday, and then play Saturday, and then they're off on Sunday.
Okay. Well, in terms of your conference, how big is the conference? How much travel do you guys have to do?
Yeah, so there are 11 teams. The furthest we go is Niagara. So we have two teams that are up in Buffalo and Niagara. I enjoy the ride. I mean, it's a good bonding experience for the girls, even though they do sing karaoke on the bus. There's one or two that are actually pretty decent, but the rest, that's probably the furthest we go in terms of conference play. The rest of, within an hour, Connecticut, Jersey, New York, so it's not too bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk more about the soccer side of things.
Okay.
You were mentioning, needing to reload the roster because you have some graduate students leaving and stuff.
Yeah.
Is there a roster size that you find is ideal that you're trying to hit every year?
Yeah, so for me, I think between 26 and 28 is more than enough. Unfortunately, we do get injuries during the season, which is normal. So we want to make sure we have the right amount of players to cover, or also in training too. We don't want to have 10 people. What kind of training can you do with that? So 26 to 28 for me is ideal.
Okay.
Yep.
And you mentioned your staff and how everybody pitches in and helps with recruiting, but can you talk a little bit more about your staff? What else do they help you with, and what does the staff look like?
Yeah, so I have my assistant Brett Axelrod. He's our goalkeeper coach. He basically deals with everything. Everything the head coach doesn't want to deal with, he takes care of all of that fun stuff, and he does a great job at it too. So I can't complain. I am lucky in terms of my assistants. I know sometimes the head coach gets the recognition when things go well, but assistants do a lot, and I am lucky to have. I'm fortunate enough to have two really good ones. And then Yudi is Brazilian. He's got the Brazilian mind. We do a lot of the field work in terms of training on the field, while Brett takes care of the goalkeepers. So, I'm not a goalkeeper. I don't know anything about goalkeepers. So if he tells me this is what we need to do with goalkeepers, it's basically what happens. So we all pitch in our part. So And
That's
what I
awesome.
say is like you rather have three brains working together than just one, right? So I let them kind of express what they think or what they feel is right or who should we start with. Like it's kind of an open discussion.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's great. Well, in terms of uh, continuing at that, can you tell me your style of coaching, kind of the team style of play, what that culture of the team is?
Yeah, so personally, I love possession. I'm a big possession believer. Um, I like to attack and press high, but it also comes down to what kind of players you have and who we're playing against. Every coach wishes they can play, tiki-taka football and like beautiful stuff, but it comes down to who you're playing against and what kind of players we have at the time. And so you do have to tweak it sometimes. I do have a young squad, so they're learning a lot, which is great. But yeah, so it's adjusting. For me, I love possession. I like to attack with speed and press up high. So if I had to pick, that's what it would be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do you guys employ any sort of technology in terms of, the trackers, the practice film, game film? What kind of technology are you guys using to help the
Yeah.
team
So
during the year?
we use Instat for
Oh,
all of
okay.
that. So yep, that's what we do the film with, and Coach Judy does the scouting reports, and he sits down with them or me, and we go over individual stuff too. So there might be one or two things we want to show an individual play instead of a team, so we'll sit down with them and go over that as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're almost to December, so you got a good 9 months really before
Yeah.
you're back in looking at the season for next year. But can you give me just a rough overview of what the next 9 months will look like in terms of an off-season program for the girls?
Yep. So they do have a bit of a winter break. We don't want to overwhelm them with too much over Christmas. Because they are just finishing exams and they're finally home with their families. So we give them that kind of reload. But we do touch base with them once a week to see what they're doing in terms of workouts. And then the spring comes, and then all of a sudden it's the fall. The summer workouts, they get a summer packet that has all of our fitness testing and nutrition, body workouts, you name it's on there. So what we do is we have an Excel sheet that each player puts in their workouts for the week, and they're due by the end of the week. So not only do we get to see what they're doing off season, if they come into preseason not in shape, but they've told me they've done this, this, and this, I can kind of like say, well, I don't know. Yeah, so and that also keeps us in touch with them throughout the summer too.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Well, Coach, we've talked about a lot of different things, covered a lot of ground, but I always like to end these with the same thing, and that's what didn't we cover? What else would you like us to know, whether it's about recruiting, about the school, about the soccer, or anything else in general? I'll leave you with the last word.
Yeah, so like I said, I have a really young team, and we took this team from the bottom and we're building it up. We've had two pretty successful seasons. From what I've been told, it's the best season since 2009. So we want to build from that. We are a small school, so resources are extremely limited compared to some of the teams we do play against in the MAC. But for us, it's doesn't matter. We're going to do the work. It comes down to the coaches wanting to do the work. And like I said, the three of us are nonstop. So we want the best for the program, and not just for us to be successful, but also to give the best experience for the players.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Coach, we wish you the best of luck in building this team up. And if you're in Philadelphia at the coaches convention, be sure to swing by the table. We'll be there in person and would love to meet you. And thanks for being on.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.